Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we have Shenae from Kora, who's blessed us with her presence and given us the time so we can understand her story and Kora and what it is. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome. It's great to chat and great to be here. So, I think we'll kick straight in. So, tell us your story. Tell us your background, and the story leading up to Kora.
Yeah, so I was an actor for a really long time. Had a lot of great success as an actor on television mainly and doing some film as well. And I was actually filming a show and on hiatus when I got pregnant with my first daughter. At that point, I decided to kind of shift the trajectory of my career because I wanted to be able to be more physically present for my kids and not on set for 16, 18-hour days. So at that point, I started creating content online, starting with a blog, obviously social media platforms, and also starting to dabble in YouTube. And upon that, I was sharing a lot of my pregnancy journey along the way and garnering this really engaged community of moms, which was an audience that I'd never tapped into before because I've never had a reason to. And from there, it just started to kind of grow and grow. I became known as a bit of an authority in the mom digital content creation space, which was wonderful, being recognized by brands and my peers and all the rest of it. After I had my daughter is when things started to kind of evolve into a more entrepreneurial role. I definitely turned digital content creation into a business for myself and was really thriving in that space. But when I had my daughter, because I am self-employed, I've always been self-employed, there's no such thing as maternity leave. Yep. So I was uploading, a YouTube video from my hospital bed and really never slowed down. And I all of a sudden had this, injection of exponential growth and responsibility. And I was just struggling to stay on top of everything, between meetings and deadlines and tracking my daughter's feeding and making sure that she was, up to scale on her development and making sure I kept notes of all of that for the pediatrician and all of the rest of it. It was just really, really overwhelming me. I felt like I was drowning. And so I did my best. I had a bunch of different apps on my phone that I had never used before that I was starting to use. And I was writing everything down. I had notebooks and lists everywhere. And ultimately, nothing provided the solution that I was looking for because they didn't integrate with one another. So I had things written down in a notebook that I would forget at home, and then I wouldn't have it on my phone. And so it was completely useless to me, or I would have something written down over here or in my notes app over there, but I needed it for a calendar event. So, you get the point. Nothing was working. As a millennial, yeah, I turned to my app store because I was sure that a solution must exist that would just integrate all of these features I needed in a seamless way. And I really didn't find anything that met my needs as a mother. So I started to do a little bit more digging. I wanted to tap into this audience of moms that I had grown, and I did a survey to my private email list. I think we had about 700 and something participate in this survey of, like-minded millennial moms, just to gauge if this was in fact a problem for them, first of all, not just me. And then if so, what were their current solutions? What would their ideal solution be? And that's where I really got that green light and validation that I was on to something. I wasn't the only person with this problem. And I also wasn't the only person seeking a solution. So once I got that kind of thumbs up, that's how this brainchild of Kora came to be. And it's been a really fun journey so far. I think we've developed an MVP that is really robust and beautiful and does solve so many of those problems in one place. And the way I can describe it best in one sentence is Kora is the best friend and personal assistant that, a mom never knew she could have that lives in her pocket.
Yeah. I understand. My wife and I have got 2 kids under 4, and my wife is, writing things down, and there's notebooks and apps and calendar and everything else, and trying to manage everything is incredibly difficult. And then me not being able to tap into the mind of my wife and understand what she's going on. I'm completely lost most times, and she's like, "Oh, did you remember this?" I'm like, "No, did I get told about it? I can't remember where it is. It's not in my calendar." And so yeah, I agree. So okay, you found there was a space in the market. You did some research. Tell us more about Kora now. How did the team come together? Help us understand the solution.
Yeah, so Kora is really that all-in-one solution for moms. I like to think of it as kind of like the Swiss Army knife every mom needs in her tool belt. Everything, functions and integrates with one another, which is, I guess, one of the main features. But on top of our productivity feature set, we've also put a heavy emphasis on the importance of community, because, what I've learned through content creation is ultimately the reason why my audience tunes into the content that I create is because they don't want to feel alone on their journey. So being able to relate to me on mine is a really important component to what I do day to day. And I think there's a really great way of us integrating a community feature set alongside a productivity feature set. I think those two tools combined are kind of the ultimate mashup for how a mom can thrive on a day-to-day basis instead of feeling like she's just barely surviving until bedtime. And that's the goal, because we all know what that feels like. And we deserve to feel like we're thriving. So we've combined these two feature sets, the community component, the productivity component. Ultimately, once I had that kind of greenlit from my community, I started digging into the hows. How am I going to create this? I am not a coder. I do not know how to do that myself. So I need to find the people who can. And that is what led me to Pixel Force, which is our tech partner in the project. Ultimately, how I found Pixel Force and how they came to be involved in the company is because I used the Sweat app postpartum. That's how I, got my mom bod back after I had my first baby. And I just loved the app so much. The user experience was seamless. It was super simple and user-friendly, but also very beautiful. It was fun to engage with. And that's what I was looking to do with Kora. So I sent an email via their online form, total shot in the dark. Ultimately was just trying to kind of get information on what cost would look like to get me to that MVP stage. And when I had the first call with them and kind of spoke to them, shared a bit about my personal background, how the concept came to be and all the rest of it, and they were like, okay, we'll talk about it amongst ourselves and then we'll send you some information on, options and whatever. They ended up reaching back out, being really enthusiastic about the project and the story behind it. So they actually decided to come in as straight equity partners, which was incredible, obviously. So they are the tech team that is working with us hand in hand. Up until this point to create the MVP and on a go forward for as long as we can. They've been with Sweat since inception, and they've seen them through a $300 million acquisition, which is incredible. So these guys are definitely rock stars. They know what they're doing. And I couldn't be more excited to be partnering with them on this project because they really are my dream fit. So yeah, it's a pretty stellar team that we've put together, and all of the pieces are in play now. We've got the tech side handled with confidence by the amazing star team that is Pixel Force. And then obviously on the marketing side, that's really where my wheelhouse is and my partner Sam's wheelhouse is. We both have varying expertise in the marketing side of things. Me in front of the camera and building that kind of the systems and funnels that I have in place for my own personal brand, but Sam behind the scenes, having worked with many, many different influencers and on the marketing team for sports teams and stuff like that. So that's where we kind of shine. So I think those two elements coming together is going to give us a great opportunity.
Awesome. Yeah, I know the team from Pixel Force, and I've seen the quality work they do, so I'm really excited. Okay, so help us understand the solution. Put your mum hat on.
Yeah.
What does it do, and what does a user see, and what are some of the features?
Yeah, so right now in our MVP, our basic features are a calendar, a notes app or whatever, a notes tab, to-do list, shopping list. Like I said, community and journaling is also going to be an important feature for commercial launch. And then we'll also have meal planners and recipes. So those are kind of the basics that we're launching with. Like I said, everything integrates with one another. So if you need to brain dump in the morning and just write all of your thoughts down so that they don't leave your brain, you can do that in notes. And then with a couple taps of your finger, you can easily turn them into to-do list items. You could turn it into a calendar event. You can attach a shopping list to a calendar event. Delegation is really important for us. As you kind of touched on, Daniel, it's really important for us that mom is able to take some of the things off of her plate, but we also know that moms want to make sure that it's all getting done the way that she wants it to. So this allows her to delegate those tasks and keep up with them as they're being ticked off of the list, which is awesome for both stay-at-home moms, if you're, co-parenting with a partner, or if you are working out of the home and want to make sure that, the nanny or whoever's looking after your kids are taking care of things the way you want it done. So that's another really important feature for us. Another thing is just, because I am a mom and I am the user, there's a lot of nuanced features that we've built into those kind of key tabs that to me are what really sets us apart as far as value proposition is. When I looked at the competitive landscape, there were a small handful of family organization apps, a small handful of community-driven apps, community-focused apps, but nothing combined all of these needs that a mom has. I want to be that thing that the mom wakes up to and opens up on her phone with her morning coffee before the kids are awake. And yes, she'll check in throughout the day. She'll check in to do her to-do list, have 5 minutes while the baby's napping, and be able to pop into a forum and have a chat. And I want to be the last thing she looks at on her phone at night. I want her to be able to put the kids to bed, check back in, have that gratification of checking everything off of the list, and plan for the day ahead. So I really see this as something that is, again, going to empower moms to own their day and is going to be a part of their weekly routine, daily routine. And when we looked at the family organization apps in that category that were out there, upon further discovery, they were all made by men. None of them have actually been made by moms. So that's another great competitive advantage that we have, is we're actually in the head of the user because we are them. So the way that the app looks aesthetically, I'm, like I said, a millennial. I'm of the Pinterest generation. I don't want things to look corporate and stale. If this is something that I'm incorporating into my daily life, I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be fun to use. So we paid a lot of attention to the aesthetic design of it, giving moms multiple palettes to choose from, whatever their preference is for their taste. We've also integrated, confetti celebrations when she checks things off of her to-do list. Being a mom is oftentimes a thankless job. So we wanted her to feel recognized and appreciated for all the things that she gets done in a day, prompting mom to have little me time moments. When we notice a gap in a calendar, we offer suggestions of meditation or quick workouts or things she can do for herself to make sure she's taking care of number one, because if we don't take care of ourselves, which we often forget to do, how can we possibly take care of a household? So all of these little things, these little nuanced touches and flares are really what make this such a special user experience. And ultimately that's been our focus the entire time.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So we've talked about the industry and the competitors that are, not built with the user in mind. The partners that you have involved with Pixel Force and Sam that's come on board. Tell us about the clients. You said you've built up an audience. What does that look like? You had a really good engagement with 700 odd people giving you their feedback. But what does that look like in preparation for the launch?
Yeah, well, for us, what's so special about the team that is here is obviously the distribution channel that we have access to. I think across all of my platforms, I probably have nearly 1 million captive eyeballs, most of whom, the majority of my audience are within that kind of 22 to 35 range, predominantly female. So, we're right in the right market. And we also took a really unique approach because we did see the leverage that a built-in audience would have with promoting an app like this. From day one, we decided to build an advisory board of influential moms in the digital content creation space. So alongside myself, we have 2 other moms. Together, we have a captive audience of nearly 5 million eyeballs within this highly coveted demographic that we're talking about. And they, are contracted as team members, equity stakeholders in the company, to have a certain set of marketing deliverables for us across their social media platforms on a month-to-month basis. This is a really unique approach, I think, and it's something that I've been able to do because of who I am and the contacts that I have in this space. And so this advisory board is definitely something that we will expand on as the company furthers. But with that said, alongside the advisory board, the contracted advisory board, comes the long list of our other momfluencer friends. We're all entrepreneurs. We all have personal brands in digital content creation. A lot of us have products that we are launching and all that kind of stuff. So we're a really supportive, tight-knit community of peers in this industry. And we have a lot of faith that all of our friends and, peers, colleagues, whatever you want to call them in this space, are going to be there supporting us and cheering Kora on when it does come time to, launch commercially. And of a small snapshot that we included on our deck, I think we've got, an audience of nearly 40 million eyeballs, again, within that same demographic, which again is just like a snapshot of who we have access to, who we believe is going to support us on our journey, which is really exciting. And another thing I want to add, as far as the competitive landscape is concerned, an important thing I learned from that initial survey of over 700, when I asked, what solution are you currently using? 8% of people said they were using one app, an all-in-one app as their solution. 75% said that their ideal solution would be one app. So that just goes to show you. And then when I dug deeper on that 8%, I was like, oh, I wonder what competitor they're going to name. What are they using that they're happy with? Yeah. Not a single person named a multifunction app that was in our competitive landscape. They named Notes or something very basic, some single function basic app on their phone. So in actual fact, of the 700 plus that we surveyed, even though 75% wanted this solution 100% as their top choice of how they would want to organize their lives, not a single person named one of the competitors. And what is so important of highlighting there is because, as far as promotion and marketing is concerned, they're not speaking the language of the user. That's what I do every single day with my content. So that, again, is just a huge competitive advantage. You can create a product, but if nobody knows about it, it's irrelevant, So we've created a beautiful product. We're really confident, really happy with that. And we know how to get it in front of the right people. Moms are such a highly coveted demographic. I know I keep saying that, but they control 85% of the buying decisions in a household. The data that we would collect from this user group is so valuable. And, on top of the audience that we have access to, I also work with brands in this space on a day-to-day basis, which is part of our monetization model. A part of our revenue model is brand partnerships. And that's what I do. That's how I make a living day to day right now. So we have a lot of relationships with different brands in the female space and the parenting space and all the rest of it that we'll be able to pull together. And because we come from the world of content creation, I see a lot of crossover between how brands can provide value for our users and influencer partners can provide value for the brands and so on and so forth. I think we're really going to kind of be a win-win-win for everybody who kind of comes to the table.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Okay, so the industry itself, how is the content creation, social media industry different? I mean, 5 years ago, it was, I'd say, a 20th of what it is today. You know, it's exploded, but you know, how are you really tapping into that market for the future? What does it look like in the next 5 years?
Well, I think, you know, obviously, especially when it comes to Kora and the audience that we're going after, Gen Z is right on the brink of, you know, starting to have kids now, which is really exciting. TikTok is a very hot platform. I don't see that necessarily going anywhere, but I know that Instagram certainly won't. Instagram is doing everything to stay on top of everybody. And I know, again, because I'm on this side of it, I know how much money brands are pouring into content creators. You know, gone are the days of celebrities selling things. Like, these are the people on the internet are the people that your kids know about and your mom knows about. You know, it's really not slowing down. And I really foresee only more and more money being poured into this as a marketing vehicle. And, you know, not just the big dollars for the bigger influencers, but micro influencers are also going to be really important, especially, you know, I have a lot of awareness of that because I have friends with 10, 15 million followers on Instagram who simply don't convert the same as somebody with, you know, 10,000 highly engaged followers. So I want to focus on both ends of the spectrum. And I think you're going to see that more and more too. You know, I have an insider's look because I see the campaigns that are being offered to people. And hello, I see it. It's your cocoa balloon. That's Daniel. Yeah.
Sorry, my son opened the door to as well. It's what happens when you
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
But I definitely see the campaigns that are being offered, and sometimes they want people with 500,000 plus followers, and sometimes they specifically are looking for people with 5 to 10,000 followers. So I think you're going to see brands spending more and more dollars on digital content creators to sell their products, because there's a real trust between myself and an audience via digital content creation that there simply isn't there between a huge celebrity and the people that are fans of them. There's a major disconnect in that relationship. Celebrities and actors and musicians are on a pedestal in the viewer's mind and the audience's mind, but digital content creators are sharing their personal lives with their audiences. So the audience really trusts and values the things that they're saying and the products that they're supporting.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. I think the marketing, the ad industry will change completely in the next few years. And I think where Kora is, and having that element of, you know, you've got you know, good relationships with products and being able to harness that data of the users and the people in your audience and suggest products that fit. I think that's going to be very valuable. You know, both from a product and a insight aspect, but also on a revenue aspect. Okay, so we've discussed, you know, what pain points you're solving for your audience. You know, we've discussed that, you know, you've got a large audience to tap into, which is, you know, very exciting from anyone looking at this opportunity as a future sort of growth opportunity. You know, tell us about, obviously you're raising capital. Let's discuss that. Tell us, you know, how much you're raising, what it's being used for, and what the offer is.
Yeah, so we're raising 1.1 million. 300 of that will go towards operations, so day-to-day hires, all of that kind of stuff, legals, accounting, all of that nitty-gritty business. 300 of that will go towards tech development. So we, like I said, have a very robust MVP that's completely functioning and fully built out, that we've done with Pixel Force, but we do want to add a couple of key features that will be really important for our commercial launch. So that 300 will go towards building out those features. tweaking and finessing that MVP, that existing feature set that we have, because we're going to test it against a user group, an internal user group for my email list, to just get any feedback and make sure that, we're up to snuff when we go to commercial launch, because we know we have one shot to do this with a bang. And because of that distribution, that channel that we have and the traditional PR outlets that I have access to, we want to make sure that we hit a home run when we do go out, because people are going to know about it. So that's where that's going. And then the additional 500 or 400 is for marketing. Like I said, we have an impressive distribution channel. So we're going to get a lot of pro bono favors from people that 400 wouldn't touch covering as far as paid partnerships are concerned. So that's wicked. But we want to make sure that we're capitalizing on all of that free promotion that we're going to be getting. We want to make sure that we have a stellar marketing team in place and a month-to-month retainer for us to build out all of that action post that initial push. We want to make sure that we're taking into account all of the analytics that we get, make sure that any paid partnerships on a go forward are the right kind of partnerships. Because like I said, you can spend money on an influencer to promote your stuff, but if they don't convert, then it's useless. So we're going to get a lot of that information. We need to make sure that we're tracking all of that information and making smart choices on a go forward. So that's where the bulk of the marketing dollars will go, is on all of that kind of back end, and then post initial commercial launch, advertising and all the rest of it, making sure that we're moving in the right direction and making the most of all of those free eyeballs that we're going to be getting.
Yeah. So what's the, do you have a date locked in for launch?
Well, it depends on when the seed round closes. So as soon as seed round closes, then we're looking at 3 to 4 months out from commercial launch. And then after commercial launch, we're looking at a 6 to 9 month window before we go out for that Series A. So that's what the next 12 months looks like for Kora.
Okay. Awesome. And the momentum for the raise on your side, I know, I've spoken to a number of investors in my network who have, really good feedback on it, and there is interest there. But what's the momentum like in terms of the raise?
The momentum's really good. Every time we do a pitch, everybody seems really excited. Everyone gets the value prop right away, which is awesome. And they understand how valuable the data from this demographic is going to be. The potential for an exit is huge. And there's a few different options of how that could work. So everyone's really excited about jumping on board. What we're doing right now is in negotiations on a potential lead. We really want to get a strong lead. Obviously, I'm biased, but I would love to have somebody at the VC table who is female, hopefully a mother as well, so that they understand that value prop. It's really important. Female founded companies get something like 2.3% of venture capital funds, which is mind-boggling, because female founded companies also are known to have a really high success rate. I'd love to see, obviously, money being put into a female founded company, but it would be wonderful if somebody at the table is also female as well. But locking in that lead is going to be really important for us to kind of close out the round. We're looking like we're in shape to close it out, but we're in negotiation right now with one company who could potentially be coming in as a lead, but are open to, finding another option for a lead as well.
Yeah. And just for people who are looking this at and having a look at, you mentioned the Series A in say 9 to 12 months. What does that look like? So in case someone wants to come in and then follow on.
Yeah, I think right now in our heads, and again, this, could change, but we'd probably be looking at a 2.5 raise. And that would really be to grow and scale at that point, obviously. So, we'll have all the wheels in motion. We'll have our revenue model will already have kind of started ticking. Our revenue model is broken down into kind of 4 strands, so to speak. Our focus initially is going to be users, active users. So downloads and retention are the really important metrics for us upon launch. But we will also be introducing a subscription model. It's a freemium model. So basic model for free, and then a paid subscription. The paid subscription is going to have 2 tiers. So you're going to have 2 different streams of income coming in from that. And then obviously, like I mentioned, brand partners, we're leaning more towards, a focus on brand partners versus paid ads, banner ads, and stuff like that. Because like I said, user experience is always top of mind for us. And we don't want to have anything in that user flow that rejects people, that puts them off and makes ultimately the time that they're using this app less efficient and less convenient of a solution for them. Brand partners and the way we intend to integrate them are really going to add to that user experience and enhance it. So we're leaning more towards that. That would be more fruitful anyway for us as far as monetization is concerned than traditional paid ads. And then eventually we would also launch a marketplace as well. So again, when I talk about growth and scale after Series A, that's where we'd be introducing the marketplace.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. There's I know my wife is she's on different Facebook groups for mothers, and she's always talking about, so that community aspect is highly valuable. But then what we've started to do is, we've got I think almost 4. In February he'll be 4, and then a 7-month-old. So as the 7-month-old is starting to outgrow, the smaller clothes and the bath mats and things like that, my wife's like, well, we don't have storage for this. What do we do with it? And she puts it out to the community. And there's that secondhand goods, which is, I've read a study that buying and selling secondhand goods is going to grow 5-fold in the next 5 years, because it's just as sustainability and recycling.
I was going to say, it's saving our planet.
Exactly.
Clothing waste is such a huge contributor to pollution. So
so that market, especially in the Gen Z, is looking at the to recycle, reuse. So that's that marketplace, that secondary offerings, but even in the marketplace, the brand alignment, being able to offer things, and so it's a huge space, and I like
and moms, as a user, as a consumer, they're review loyal over brand loyal, and they're incredibly influential themselves. I talk about influencers, as kind of this, influencers, digital content creators. Moms are influential, and moms love to tell you when they love something, because they feel like they hit the jackpot when something works. And moms listen to other moms. So you can read a brand's review or, a description of something or whatever, but I will spend hours and days scouring the internet, trying to find blog posts from other moms, reviews from other moms who have used products, before I kind of connect the dots, cross-check things, and decide on the purchase that I'm going to make based on all of that feedback. So what we would really love to do with the marketplace is create a rating system by moms, for moms. And of course, we'll incentivize that, gamify it in some way for the moms, which I think is just another opportunity for time spent on the app. Obviously, more opportunity for us to learn more about their buying and spending habits, and all the rest of it. So again, just so many opportunities across our feature set to get incredibly helpful data that, again, not only enhances the revenue potential for us, enhances the value of us for potential exit, but also enhances the user experience, because the more we get to know our users' habits, the more we get to tailor everything to them. So we'll be able to promote products to them that are within their budget, are within their family's needs, which is going to obviously convert better for the brands.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, it's been great chatting to you. I really like the Kora story. I think this is a really, smart opportunity, considering that, if you have a look at the space, if you have a look at the industry and where it's going, and then your ability to tap into your audience, I think that this is, even if, for argument's sake, you said you got almost 5 million, an audience base. Even if you're able to tap into 5% of that, that is a huge step. And I know a lot of early stage companies don't have that luxury, don't have that initial distribution channel, which is a big selling point. So, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see where this goes. Thank you for jumping on this. It's been great to chat to you. And if anybody who's watching this video, if you want, more information, if you want to know more, I'll put my details at the bottom of this. Please feel free to reach out, and I can connect you with Shenae.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been great chatting, and I'll see you around. Hopefully I can get to the US and we'll grab a coffee and we can share kid stories.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.